A/B test run today. I'm going to take out the On Cloudultra 3, and also I'm going to run in the Cloudultra Pro here. Just wanted to point out I have a US 10 here and a US 9.5 here. I'm going to talk through the full specs on the run. This 10 is quite a bit roomy, especially compared to the 9.5 here. I don't think it's just the sizing. I do think this one has a little bit of a wider fit. So I'm going to wear two different socks here. I have the opposite shoes on my feet, by the way. In this shoe, I have the Sidus Run Anatomic Comfort. I just feel like it's a little bit thicker. It has that padding in the heel and the toe box. Can talk about the fit of the shoe, of course, on the run. This is the Trail Ultra sock, I believe. No, Trail Protect. And I think this is a little bit thinner. It still has the padding around the toe box and also a little bit in the heel. It seems to be a little less in the heel, but it feels like a thinner sock to me. So I'm going to have the thinner sock in the Cloudultra 3 just to kind of even out the sizing difference, the volume within the shoe, give me a little bit better feel. If I wore a thick sock in this one, I feel like could be a little bit squeezed, and if I had a thin sock in this one, could be a little bit loose. So just an FYI there. Running out on the Oregon Trail today. Just a tiny part of it, of course. Haven't been out this way in quite a while, actually. There's some fun up and downs around here. A few trails along the cliffs here, which are pretty scenic and cool. That's Lucky Peak off to my left here. I've been picking up running in the Cloudultra 3 a bit more recently. Kind of had a pause while I was testing other stuff. I wanted to talk about the socks before I headed out because those few test runs I had, check out my Gorewear Concurve Ultraspire Mountain Racer review. I was wearing the Cloudultra 3 there. A few test runs, I just noticed a bit of spaciousness in the heel of the shoe. I think I might have had a thinner sock in at least one or a few of those test runs. So I wanted to make sure I had a sock with thicker heel padding for this A/B test run here. Sidus socks. Most of them, or at least a few of them, have that extra heel cushion, which is nice. I do think it's actually a little bit interesting that even now with those heel padded socks on, it feels like I have a little bit extra roominess in the Cloudultra 3 in the smaller US 9.5. It could be the fact that perhaps the US 10 is just a better fit for me, and on, even though it's larger, I may find my foot sitting better inside the shoe, which I think is most of the case here. I have been wearing US 10 generally speaking, and on sometimes in the 9.5 I find myself a touch squeezed up front, but that is not actually the case with the Cloudultra 3 here. I actually find them, especially since I think they went with more of a roomy, not necessarily fully foot shaped fit here, but they definitely gave a little bit more space than some of their traditionally narrower at the front On shoes, both road and trail. I've got no problems at all in this US 9.5 Cloudultra 3 toe box. Also, of course, no problems at all in the Cloudultra Pro toe box at a US 10. I'm pretty happy with both of my sizes here, and I think you could go either way, either true to size or a half size up. You've probably seen the Cloudultra Pro if you paid attention to the Golden Trail World Series. Top pro athletes are running super fast in that shoe, and I would imagine they're not going with ultra sizing, half size up for those types of races. So definitely with the Cloudultra Pro, you probably want to vary your sizing based on your intended use. I did run 108K in this shoe, so check out my review of that one. I definitely want that half size up for that type of distance, but I think it would also be pretty awesome for shorter distances at my true to size US 9.5. There is a difference in stack underfoot, 39.33 with the Pro, 36.30 for the Cloudultra 3, both 6mm drop. Cushion wise, I do find that most noticeable under the forefoot. Very soft, very cushy with the Pro. I think I had mentioned that the 3 might have a firm feel, but I think that's really in relation to the Pro model. It's not a firm shoe. Like, it doesn't feel hard underfoot, hard under the forefoot. It's just that the Pro is noticeably more cushioned and also noticeably more reactive underfoot. So I would say it's relatively firm. You do definitely have more ground feel in the Cloudultra 3. Running down that little steep rocky part back there, I feel the ground a little bit better with my right foot. Notice a little bit more bounce, definitely all the time with the Pro, but especially going downhill, you have to be a little bit careful with that one. You have to kind of manage that softness, that bounce. After running 2 or 3 miles or so out here, a bunch of kind of rugged lava rock in certain parts, it makes me wonder if maybe I ran them straight out of the box or something. The Cloudultra 3, that is. I did have a comment from a subscriber about them possibly breaking in a bit or feeling softer after a number of miles, and that definitely is the case here. I wouldn't call these firm at all. I probably slot them in as kind of a mid-range firmness, I would say. There's also a forked nylon fiberglass speedboard plate in both of these shoes. Thankfully, I do not feel it at all, unlike some of On's speedboards of the past. Thumbs up there from me. No firmness from either the speedboard or the foam itself. You've got Helion HF foam, hyper foam in both of these shoes. I talked about this, I know from memory, in my Cloudultra 3 review. I purposefully didn't re-watch that review, by the way, before coming out here. In that initial run, I was fairly certain that they were not exactly the same dual layer foam setup. I thought that both layers might have been firmer in the 3 and softer in the Pro, with maybe some overlap in the middle. But now I guess after some break-in, or maybe I just feels a little warmer out here with the shoes, I don't know. They could possibly be the same. Again, you got 6 mil difference, so that could really make a difference in the feeling of softness underfoot. There's also a little bit of difference with those CloudTec Phase pods. You've got more in the Pro, 1 less in the 3, and I think that does a little something different to the feel underfoot. You've got 8 of those CloudTec Phase voids here in the Pro model, and switching around here, you only have 7, and these voids themselves are bigger in the 3. What I kind of think about this is, initially I thought the foam was firmer. I still kind of, by feel, it feels a touch firmer, especially this bottom layer feels a bit firm. I feel like they're leaning into more of that CloudTec void mechanical cushioning here with the firmer foam. And then with the Pro model here, you have a softer foam, or at least, or definitely 6 mil more underfoot. So in order to stabilize that, you don't want those voids to be as big. You kind of want to, I would say, limit that mechanical cushioning, make these voids a little bit smaller, a little bit more controlled, so that you're leaning more into the actual softness of the foam itself, instead of the softness of the foam in combination with big voids. That might lead to a lot more instability. Underfoot, the platforms are essentially the same on the ground. I've got 118, 70, 92 width on the Pro, and I think I was within 1 or 2 millimeters for the 3 here, so that's within a variance of error there. I've got the bigger size 10 here. You do notice a little bit of puckering here, but I was 100% comfortable over 108K in this shoe. I'm not certain if I would be the same in this shoe. I think I'm probably less than a thumb's width for sure, maybe half, a little more than half, 2/3 here. I would want a little bit more for a long ultra. Both shoes on the run now feel equally comfortable though, I would say. One thing about these shoes, which I think is curious, both shoes, it feels like this outer collar is high. This is like riding on my ankle bone. Same thing here with the Pro, and I was initially very concerned about this because I was going out for 108K in them. But with both shoes, it is odd that that has not given me an issue on the run. They're padded enough, and there are really no sharp points inside of here. So although I feel it like riding up against the ankle bone itself, it seems to not cause an issue at all. It's even a little bit of looseness here, and I had no problems at all. So if you are maybe put off by that on your initial try-on, I would say maybe don't necessarily be concerned right away. One thing I think other people have mentioned, and also I've noticed this as well, there's like a little bit of a creasing here on the lateral side in this model. It's not here in this model. it doesn't kind of fold in the same way. But that's another one of those things that in the 108K race, it didn't come into play at all. And I was actually, I think I put a little strip of Leuco tape on the outer ball of my foot here just in case, but I have no issues at all throughout the course of running in this shoe. I don't feel the same thing at all in this shoe. Again, it's a half size down, but the uppers are a little bit different. They're both lino weave, as they say, but this one's definitely a little bit more open. A commenter had mentioned stuff getting in. That's definitely going to be the case. I think in very sandy terrain, you know, that's my sock in there, so stuff is going to get in there for sure. Although, I don't know, it just wasn't a bother in the race at all. This one seems to be a little bit tighter, not as open and breathable as this. I have no issues in breathability with either of these shoes. Compared to standard On shoes, I also have the Cloudsurfer Trail version. Both 1 and 2, they kind of taper more at the front than these models. These are definitely different than the previous or any On trail shoes that I've tested in that they really round out at the front here. I would say also the width across the forefoot is almost comparable to one of, say, the more streamlined Ultras or Topos. It's actually, it may be the Keen, but it's actually narrower than the Keen for sure. But it's more of a natural shape than having a kind of tapered squeeze up front, which I think On has just done a great job with this for long ultras and just trail running in general. So I am gonna zoom on back, hit that gully down there, and maybe do some running along those ridges over there. Not all the way down over there. Somewhere along the way there's a path over there. You can definitely notice me taking a little bit of care in some of these rocky parts. That's mainly due to the Cloudultra Pro on my left foot. If I had 2 Cloudultra 3s on, I'd probably feel a little bit more confident going through there. You're just kind of high up, 39, 33 in the Pro, so just want to be a little bit careful there when I get to the bottom and it's smoothed out. Of course, you can see my stride open up, and that's where the Pro really shines. Runnable stuff, just it has that super shoe feel, bounciness. The plate gives you a little bit without being overly aggressive, and that's why it's really one of the top ultra racing shoes on the market. But the 3 here, solid companion, I would say, training. These are definitely shoes that are not close enough to have overlap where you would want to kind of choose one or the other. I think they're slightly different enough that you could have both as a great 1-2 training racing combo. I do feel comfortable in both of these shoes running in rocky terrain. I mentioned having to manage the Pro a little bit more. That's normal, that comes with the territory, but that Pro nylon fiberglass plate is definitely more flexible than carbon fiber plates in other super shoes, so it definitely leads it, I think, to be a little bit more manageable in rocky terrain, at least if you're careful. It is also a bit more protective, again, for me, mainly under the forefoot. That is noticeable. 6 additional millimeters of foam there. Definitely feel that. Sometimes I could feel a little bit of pressure. I mean, for what you're getting at 30 mil, mid-range stack with the Cloudultra 3, it's definitely pretty good protection. Again, you've got that speedboard in there, so it's blunting a lot of the sharpness, but sometimes I can still feel pressure if I step on something sharp. The Pro really just 36 under the forefoot kind of absorbs pretty much everything, so I hardly feel anything underfoot with that shoe. All right, we are exploring a little bit here. I definitely trust both of these shoes, let's say, where I'm at now. A big difference between these shoes, although it's actually not that big and also not that noticeable, is the weight. The Cloudultra Pro comes in at 9.8 ounces, sub 10 ounces for 39-33 stack. Great weight for a super shoe. The Cloudultra 3 is a touch heavier at 10.1 ounces. With the Pro, you have more stack and less weight at the same time. That is the name of the game when it comes to super shoes. Getting back to the Helion HF foam between these two shoes, that weight difference does lead me to believe that the weight difference is in the foam, and they're not exactly the same. The outsoles here, Mission Grip rubber, 3.5 millimeter lugs, essentially the same. You saw the uppers. There's probably slight weight savings with the more open mesh of the Pro model, but really not that much. It's really got to come from, especially being that much more, 6 mil more stack, at the same time lighter. So I would say it has to be a more advanced, lighter weight foam between one or both of the layers in the Pro. Definitely rocky underfoot here. This is kind of little nuggets of lava rock. Both shoes very protective, and I might add, without feeling firm or tippy at all. Final thoughts here. These are two excellent options from On. In fact, On's best trail running shoes that I personally run in. There's a price difference between the two, coming in at a super shoe-esque price of $260 if you've got the Pro model. $190, a little bit pricey for a training shoe with the Cloudultra 3. But as you know, you do get top quality design, materials, finish, everything that comes with the Swiss engineering from On. So you're not getting hoodwinked for your money. You're getting high quality at a bit of a premium price across the board with all of On's shoes. As mentioned, a great 1-2 combo here, but if I had to choose one and you were thinking of long distance ultras, I would go with the Pro model, especially if you want to do some training miles in it. It's highly adaptable for training. I think I mentioned in my Pro review, definitely go back and check that one out. It's, I think, one of the friendliest trail super shoes out there. It has that soft cushion feel that is just comfortable without the plate being intrusive, without it feeling overly aggressive. It really feels like just like an enhanced daily trainer in some regards. The durability is also there. I did that 108K race, testing miles before, a few runs after the race, and it feels every bit as energetic, a little bit more molded to my foot, I'd say, but it doesn't feel like it's lost anything. So if you want to go with one and you wanted to train and race in it, Pro is a good pick. If you're not so certain about that soft, high stack feel, Cloudultra 3 is also pretty great. If you want that mid-range stack and feel, you still want to have a bit of ground feel under your forefoot. You don't want to have that kind of dulled out, which the Pro can do, which is good and bad depending on your perspective. The Cloudultra 3 can certainly double as a racer trainer, but again, the ideal setup, you train a little bit more ground feel in the Cloudultra 3 and then race with that lighter weight, higher stack, more cushioned feel, especially in the longer distances. Keep in mind my notes on sizing again. If you're running shorter, faster distances and you still want that Pro, then go true to size in the Pro, not the half size up that I have here. Thank you for tuning in again. Maybe a quick little close-up back at the van before I go. Cloudultra 3 here. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're a little bit wider openings here. Gives you a little bit more of that mechanical compression versus you got 8 here with the Pro. Foam feels definitely softer. I was talking about that ankle collar here. Look how well padded it is all around. It's essentially the same in both models. This kind of feels like this was the section I was pointing at on the run there, kind of riding on my ankle, but it doesn't bother me at all, which is kind of interesting. Insoles are both the same, double check them. Seems to be kind of a super foamy material. Doesn't seem like standard EVA. You can see the perforations there. Nice insoles there, glad they're not Ortholite. Tongues are slightly different. They're both well padded. Tongue here, the Cloudultra 3, it's pretty much padded throughout, all around it. No lace bite at all. The laces are nice. I kind of like these flat ones. They lay flat on the shoe. You have this little loop to tuck in the laces, which is nice. Length is not sure. It could be a little bigger, but actually on the run you could see in the close-ups there, I wasn't getting any lace bite, and it's essentially the same as the Pro model, and I did 108K in them, so they're definitely fine. A little different setup here. You have more bolsters here, a little bit of separation here. You have it kind of going a U shape at the bottom here, and then a U shape around here. It's effectively the same. I don't notice any lace bite in either shoe. I think you have better laces here. You have these ribbed ones here. Kind of cool with the colors. They hold the knot well. No issues with the Cloudultra 3. Pretty safe bet with the padding all around the shoe. Look how you could see through that upper of the Pro model there. Let's just do a quick check. You could also see through there, but the openings are just not as wide. Of course, both very breathable. They're going to drain water in and out. That's no problem. Perhaps not the best cold weather shoes, that is for sure. So I hope you enjoyed this quick little A/B test run on these two models here. I have a few Q&A questions. I hope you tuned in yesterday and caught those. Thank you for watching Humble Running. Please like and subscribe. Links in the description below to both of these models here, as well as other related stuff. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.